Hey there, thanks for joining me for Bible journaling. Today we're going to be working on day 130 in our Encourage a Moment to Breathe devotional. I'm going to be using the Mo's digital pencil image called Hug, and then I'm going to be using my HungryJPEG Majestic May bundle to do my font and the graphics there on my font. And then I'm going to use this piece of paper from Illustrated Faith Print and Pray Shop as my inspiration to decorate my page today. I'll put a link to everything I use down on the bottom of the screen or down in the description box in case you'd like to pick anything up. I'm going to color my image with Prisma colored pencils, and I'm going to insert that here. So if you missed it, go ahead and pause it, and you can go back and write down all the colors in case you would like to color this little image yourself. I also want to point out that my verse today is on the opposite page, but because I had already decorated that page, I decided to go ahead and do it on this page, and then I'll just put a note of the verse when I get finished with my page so I'll know that that's what verse I was working on. So our verse today says, "So if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. If one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it." This verse sounds good, doesn't it? Sort of like a Christian version of the Three Musketeers' oath, all for one and one for all. But living it out in our faith communities seems much harder than it looked for the caviar trio who marched in the movies. Nonetheless, it's what we're called to do. These verses and their directive come to us in the context of Paul's comparison of the followers of Christ to a body. Elsewhere in the Bible, we are often referred to as a family, but Paul makes it more personal, and its effect is profound if we don't miss it. Every Christian is a member of one body. Consider your own body for a minute and see the ramifications of that. When one part of a body hurts, the entire body pays attention and does what it can to relieve and care for the hurting member. Our youngest son was born premature and very ill. Fast forward a few years, and Sam began to have dental issues. We couldn't understand since we hadn't had any teeth troubles with his older siblings. Finally, a pediatric dentist explained to us that during Sam's early days, the energy that would have normally gone to forming strong teeth was diverted to fighting illness and literally saving his life. His body rearranged its priorities to care for the weak, sick, and suffering parts at the expense of another member. In these days of increasing conflict in the church, this principle can help us avoid division and reunite the body of Christ. I may not understand why you hurt. My perspective as one member of the body is limited. But the fact that you do hurt is enough reason for me to care and do what I can to relieve your pain. We're a body, and that's what a body does. Today, we're supposed to think of someone in your local church body who is hurting right now. Ask God to show you how you can care for that person today. So that was my thought behind picking this image today, was maybe the little boy, and I accidentally smudged his eye when I was drawing him on or tracing him on there with my light box, and I will put a link to that video at the end if you would like to see how I put the images in my Bible. But I kind of smudged his eye there, so it kind of looks like he's crying a little bit. So my thought behind the image was the girl is giving the boy comfort today with a hug. And who doesn't sometimes need a hug? I know I surely do. And so I thought it was appropriate with our verse today that the two are giving each other comfort there. So I'm going to go ahead and let you watch some more of the coloring, and I'll see you a little bit more towards the end. Alright, so now that I got my kids there all colored, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of coats of clear gesso on my page. I like to do this so I don't have to worry about anything bleeding through, and it kind of makes the colored pencil image pop off the page a little bit. And I always put 2 coats in case I accidentally missed a spot. I'm pretty sure that I hit it the second time through. And then I just don't have to worry about anything after I start decorating my page up. After I get it all gessoed, I'm going to go ahead and trim my title and stick that up in the corner just so that I'll have that on there, and I will make sure that I don't decorate somewhere where I don't want the decorations to be. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use that piece of paper that I printed out from the Illustrated Faith Print and Pray shop there. I'll link that down in the bottom, even though I didn't use that. I really like how they had collaged a bunch of stuff together and it looked really pretty. So that is going to be my goal today, is take some acrylic paint and try to make some random splotches or dashes or stuff. I watch this on other people's videos all the time, and I see them, their beautiful pages over on Instagram, and I don't know what it is, but putting that paint on that page and just randomly splatting it down there is harder than it looks, at least for me. I don't have a problem making flowers and just splashing it on there and get and go, but when it comes to making random shapes and stuff on the page, it's just a little bit harder for me than I try. Maybe I just try to make it harder than it is, but for me it's a little bit difficult. But my whole idea was to try to copy a little bit of the paper there and make it look random and splotchy and stuff. So I added some paint. I'm going to put some white dashes on here, and then I forgot to open my blue paint there, so I had to open it. But I'm going to put some blue paint on there, and then I decide that blue paint really doesn't show up, so I'm going to have to add some black paint on there to make it pop a little bit more. Plus it will go with the black of my title over there, I think. It makes it stand out a little bit better. Then after doing all that stuff, I decided that maybe I should bring in a little bit of yellow, because there's a little bit of yellow green in my little graphic up there on my title, and kind of mess it around. And then I decided that I was going to mix up that green and blue, or the bluish green and that yellow, and make some other little splotches up here. And then I decided, oh, why did I put that on there? So let's go ahead and make those into flowers. So it's kind of all over the place. So I probably should have just left it like that, but I went ahead and, here I'm going to add, I'm going to do the flowers first. I decided that I was going to make these circles into a flower. Everything, I guess, here lately has to have flowers on it. And I just randomly squiggled some circles around those splotches to make them look like flowers. And then I'm going to add some leaves, which I decided I wasn't going to paint in, but we just randomly drew some leaves on, made them look like flowers. Then I'm going to go ahead, I want to put my because my verse is on the opposite page, I'm going to go ahead and write the verse on here so that I remember that that's where I wanted it to go. And then I'm going to put my date, because I always like to have that on there in case I look back. And now I'm looking at it and I'm deciding that really the image doesn't seem like it's popping off the page anymore, the coloring part. So I'm going to take my yellow and I'm just going to highlight around my little image there, just so they pop up off the page a little bit more. And then I'm going to call it good for today. So I hope you had fun doing Bible journaling with me today. If you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you are having a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.